Instagram, you name it. It's Kev from Kevin's Corner, where I try to make sense out of nonsense. And I'm back, y'all, and better than ever. I hope you guys are doing well. And let me make sure that YouTube has sent out a notification, at least to me, that is. All right. Okay. Nothing so far. Nothing. Oh, there we go. Yep. Looks like I'm live. And there's two people live with me. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Welcome back. Welcome back. I see some people coming in. The Calvary's coming in. Oh, Connecticut's in the house. Yeah, man. Let's see who else. What we got? People checking in. Hey, Kev. All right. Yeah. Oh, there you are. Hello from Vegas. I had a good time in Vegas when I went there. Okay. Well, yeah. Washington, Iowa, Florida. Yes, good places. All good places. Now, I was gone a couple of days trying to adjust to the night shift. I thought that, I would immediately readjust to my vampire hours, but took a second. Got Alabama, Pennsylvania, okay, Texas, late at night, the stars are bright, deep in the heart of Texas. Yep, the Silverback Gang is in the house. All right, so now, since you guys can hear me, we don't want to go ahead and just waste unnecessary time. We might as well go ahead and get busy. I see Ohio. Yeah. Boy, I'll tell you, my eyes are getting bad. What? Thailand? Get out of here. No way. You ain't making that up, are you? Thailand, that's what I'm talking about. All right, so let's go ahead as people are logging in and get the party started so we can get busy. Jacksonville, Florida. Real gorilla. Real gorilla. Real gorilla. Gorillas in here. Gorillas in here. Gorillas in here. Gorillas in here. Yeah, man. I remember I was dancing like that gopher on Caddyshack. Y'all remember Caddyshack? Love Caddyshack. Such a great movie. They don't make them like that anymore. Chevy the Chase. That was great, man. When he's hitting the golf ball. Oh, and Rodney the Dangerfield was in that one. Oh, yeah. He was great. Good movie, man. Good old comedy of the 80s or whenever it was. All right, so Indiana, or is that New England? Oh, Northeast Indiana. Okay, yeah. So welcome to the show. Wherever you are checking out the show from. I've been gone a couple of days, so we got to make up for lost time. I got clips piled up that I need to get to. I'm like, all right, I got to talk about this. I got to talk about that. But let me get this out the way, which I was supposed to talk about on Monday. In fact, I was going to drop it on y'all on Sunday, but I didn't make it. So we might as well go ahead and get busy because as you can see the title, where Dorothy and the scarecrow was talking. And she said, how do you talk if you don't have a brain? Well, dear, I'm a Democrat. And that's exactly what's going on. These Democrats, man, are just out there talking. They're not making any sense. They're just going out there and trying to do anything they can to throw mud on what Trump is doing because he's winning. And they hate it. Boy, I tell you, everybody wants to be a winner, but you got to do the right things to win. See, and when you're a Democrat in the Democrat Party, yeah, the reason y'all lose is because you do the wrong things. Here you are talking about we want to win the decathlon, the marathon rather, and you ain't working out. Your diet sucks. You know what I'm saying? You're not getting up, finding a way to get it done, running early in the morning. Don't want to practice, don't want to lift no weights, but just think you could come out and win. You can't win like that. Yeah, y'all got a horrible strategy, horrible work ethic, horrible morals, horrible approach to winning, and yet y'all come out and hate on folks that are. So we might as well go ahead and start off with them whining while we're winning. Yeah, man. What we got here? Oh, wait. Ooh, you know what? I forgot. Oh, text MAGA to that number, 330-974-4607, and check out Kevin's Corner Store. I was so excited about getting into winning, I almost forgot all the preliminaries. And if you want to support the channel through my Cash App and PayPal, you can do that through the links that are below each video. All right, now let's get to this winning while they're whining.
I win. They were losing for so long. They're losers. When I win, it drives people crazy.
That's right. There. Yeah, we're winning. Why they're whining. That's right. So let's continue, Trump, as you talk about how much you win and they lose.
And I win a lot. And they have a hat that was made that Trump was right about everything.
He will eventually try and incarcerate political opponents.
Now, there you go. While we're winning, here they come out whining. Whining, man. Look, man, we don't want whiners. We want winners. So I thought he's going to eventually incarcerate political opponents. Well, for what? I mean, if it ain't you, then it ain't you. If you ain't do nothing, why are you worried? Unless you want to be one of these crazy radical ones that want to get yourself thrown in jail like these protesters that's interfering with ICE, who got their butts thrown in jail. Who wants to do that so then you can go ahead and push the narrative that Trump is throwing his political opponents in jail just because they don't agree with him. Just because they don't agree with him. So you get Homer Simpson head, got the nerve to get on TV and lie like that.
I was only half tongue-in-cheek saying, this guy will be in a military uniform before long.
The people who are really...
No, you weren't half tongue-in-cheek. Nah, that's what you want people to believe. Dumb people. Just like y'all wanted people to believe that Trump and these tariffs was going to take the economy. And look at it now. How you like me now? Things are falling into place. And then you get Big Richard Mad Cow. You get Toucan Sand Nose out there saying some more stuff.
Really hysterical. Like really, the doomsayers, they were all right.
Oh, the doomsayers were all right. About what? What were you right about? Supreme Court just gave us another win. See, so what are you talking about? Trump is able to go ahead and deport folks from our country that shouldn't be here. So unless you're talking about a lie, which of course, that's what they've been doing. They've been lying, talking about Trump's just deporting everybody, black folks, anybody of color, somebody with a little pigmentation to the skin. You're on the table. You're on the table. So they're out there lying, talking about, it was greater than we thought. He's worse than we thought. Now, if you just sit back and think about that, just ask yourself, based on what they're saying about Trump, what is he doing? What has he done to make these folks pretend and panic like they are? It's worse than we thought. Look, we didn't even reach the level of what he's really doing. I know we came out and we said things like he's going to be a dictator. He's going to be going ahead and throwing everybody in prison. He's going to be sending folks back to Africa. He's going to start World War III. I know we said all of that, but it's worse. It's worse than that. We told you he was going to be like Hitler. We told you he's going to open up concentration camps. We told you he was going to take away all your benefits and stuff like that. But it's worse. And I'm saying, how could it be worse? Y'all are coming out talking about it's worse than what we predicted and what we talked about. And I'm saying, how could it be worse than that? It doesn't even scratch the surface of all the hyperbole these folks were using leading up to Trump taking office. But yet they're still out there saying it's worse than we ever thought. This is a constitutional crisis. Now, if I just go down the list of things that these folks were saying he was going to do, and he hasn't even done those. Not even close. But yet they're out here telling you it's worse than what we predicted. Boy, only a fool would believe that. Let's continue.
About how bad this is. Consolidating all power in one man, that's authoritarianism. And that's what you do when you don't ever want to have an election because you want to stay in power for life.
You see this? See this trash? No, and I ain't talking about what she's saying. Her. She's the trash. That's what you want to do, consolidating all the power to one man. Boy, I tell you. I mean, they're not even able to sell these type of lies to anybody with common sense without people stopping first to think, if he's consolidated all power within himself, why are you still running around lying on him? That's what I want to know. I mean, if I was a dictator, and I ran the whole country with an iron fist and I had sole power and control, do you think I would tolerate liars like that? You think I would tolerate the fake news running around lying on me constantly? You think I would even allow the fake news into the press conference on the plane? Think I would even ask them questions? Every question would be like it was under Joe Biden, when they handpicked all of the folks that asked questions. Mr. President, what's your favorite ice cream? Chocolate chip. See, I would do things like that if I was a dictator or if I wanted to control the media. But what did Trump do? He invites all the fake news to ask stupid, dumb questions. He doesn't say, you know what, that was a stupid question. In fact, how about you take this person away so we'll never see them again, put them somewhere on some type of plantation, some type of gulag, something like that. But that doesn't happen. But yet they're telling you he's consolidated power amongst one person while we're still running around acting a fool. Power under one person, but yet he's not going around locking up the whole Democrat Party. He's not coming up with fake charges and investigations and stuff like that. Nope. And if he does investigate anybody, you best believe they brought it on themselves. They deserve it. They did something. As they're all running around saying Trump's arresting us for doing nothing. As they let criminals out the back door, illegal immigrants, judges and stuff like that. They've been helping the criminals and the illegals out. Yeah, you need to go ahead and get locked up. But that she ain't do nothing. As they go down there, get in the way of ICE, pushing and shoving ICE, getting on TV lying about ICE, and then talk about Trump's locking up his political opponents. We ain't do nothing. Well, let's continue.
Are we living in the times of King Nebuchadnezzar?
Oh, God. Now, you see Hawker Jeffries. Are we living in a time of King Nebuchadnezzar? Do you even know about King Nebuchadnezzar? Do you know about Nebi? No, you don't know about Nebi. Probably ain't never read the Bible. But here he is talking about we living in the time of King Nebuchadnezzar. If that was the case, your big nose wouldn't be out there on that microphone. See, just their very presence alone, the things that they're saying, it totally contradicts the narrative. They're telling you things are horrible. Trump's running the country like Nebi. If he was running it like Nebi, you wouldn't be there, Hawker. You wouldn't be there. I mean, the first thing he would have did is do what the Democrats do when they get in power. All right, weaponize the FBI, the DOJ, put people on lists, intimidate folks, censor people, try to go after guns, things like that. But yet here he is trying to sell the whole Nebi narrative. He's trying to sell us the Nebi narrative. Let's continue, though.
What are we doing, folks?
Winning. That's what we're doing while you're whining. Okay? See, we're winners, not whiners. But then you got this chick right here. The bootleg leprechaun is back. Raggedy Patty. What do you got to say? Here we go. Let's listen to her whine about something.
So it's been more than a month, if you can believe it, since Donald Trump announced his sweeping and pretty ridiculous tariffs.
Ridiculous, you say? Now, you know what's bad about these people? They have to have some type of suspicions that Trump would probably come out on top. I mean, if they have been observing Trump from day one, you start to see a pattern of winning. He's not the kind of guy that's going to sit back and take a loss. Starting off with whooping Hillary Clinton's butt as they all tried to pretend he wasn't even trying to win in the first place. He just accidentally won. He was shocked. He was shocked that he won. And I this and this and that. He whooped her tail. Then he was winning all through his first presidency, as every week they come out talking about he's doing stupid things, he's losing, and he's disrespected, and nobody up, and he's winning. Then they cheat him, and he comes back and starts to win again. Wins his primaries, which they didn't even have one. They didn't have one of those because you know how they roll in the Democrat Party with all of their democracy. Yeah, they didn't even have one of those. But he comes back, he wins during that. Then he beats death twice, based on 2 attempted assassinations by the grace of God. You know, then he whoops Kamala's butt. Now he gets back in the office. He's doing amazing things for his first 100 days. And he sticks these tariffs after. Now, you would think they would get used to coming out, jumping the shark, and telling everybody he's doing stupid things. I mean, you would think this and that, and it's not working out. And then it all of a sudden works out. And you're taking a gamble every time you do that. You're sitting back talking about something that he feels firmly about. His voters are supportive of when it comes down to the tariffs. You know that we already have the leverage to use these tariffs. You know that most likely these countries are going to go ahead and cave to the tariffs. You know that. But you come out trying to take a victory lap prior to letting it all work its way through the system. See, you want to go out and hope that once I throw all this trash on it and try to mock him and say, these ridiculous tariffs, and I mean, these things aren't working out there. What happens when they do? Are you going to go back? You know it's going to eventually work itself out. But instead of reporting the news and saying, this is where we're at with it, here's the ups and downs, and this and that, and this is where he's going with this, because you hate Trump so much, you want to see us lose. And Raggedy Patty is one of those people. So she comes out and she's trying to go ahead and throw mud on it and mock him as if we're not going to eventually win. I mean, you got to prepare for that. Well, then again, with the fake news, you don't have to prepare for that, because they will sit back and let her say something stupid like this. And then we have great things come about of the tariffs, but their audience will never know it. They'll never know. They are not going to go back and say, Raggedy Patty was lying to us. Raggedy Patty was excited about, Trump and the tariffs and it being a negative thing. She was hoping that we would lose. But then when it doesn't happen that way, they're not going to hold Raggedy responsible. That's the problem. They're not going to go back and say, man, this chick was out here mocking Trump. I'm starting to get an idea that maybe they're not rooting for the country. Maybe they're rooting for every country in Trump's failure, but he keeps winning. And so what they do is end up leaving all of these wonderful clips for us to create montages. So later on, when all of this works out, we'll put together the montages of people like Raggedy Patty all mocking the tariffs. And then after we win, then we're going to sit back and enjoy mocking these people. But their people will never stop for 1 second to say, hey, wait a minute. A month ago, Raggedy Patty was telling us what?
But Mr. Art of the Deal, as he calls himself, has not yet struck a single trade deal. Not a single one.
Look at that. You hear how she says it with glee? Not yet struck a single deal. Not a single one. Yeah, they like it. They like it. They was hoping at this point that all of this would fall through and we could turn sentiments away from Trump, and the rest of the whole world will turn their back on America. And it's all side with China. All side with China.
With any single country.
A few moments later.
Uh-oh.
Most likely those trade deals are going to come from leaders that he's more comfortable with. And he certainly, again, says he's very comfortable with Keir Starmer.
Yeah, no question there. For President Trump, diplomacy is very personal. I mean, there's a degree of that for most presidents, but this one in particular, it's really whether or not he likes you. We know there have been foreign leaders he very much did not like. He did not care for Prime Minister Trudeau of
the man chicken. Nobody cares for the man chicken up there in Canada. That's why he had to cluck his butt right out of office. But let's continue, though, as they sit back and try to start coping and embracing for impact when it comes down to these tariffs, y'all. Ooh, these trade deals. Let's continue.
Canada. But this is going to be a political win for the White House, Mika. We've already, President Trump up very early this morning, posting around 5:30 in the morning. We've heard from him a couple times already today.
5:30 in the morning? What do you think Creepy was doing at 5:30 in the morning? Huh? What do you think he was doing? Sleeping. Chocolate chip. Uncle Finnegan. And I like kids sitting on my lap and telling me about roaches. That's what he was doing. Yeah, Creepy Sleepy was knocked out at 5:30 in the morning and probably 5:30 in the afternoon as well. Dang on it, but let's continue though, because Trump was up at 5:30 texting everybody about our winning.
About this, they're going to have an event at 10 o'clock. He's going to hold a news conference along with it.
The deal includes billions of dollars of increased market access for American exports.
Hold up, stop the press. Somebody go back and get Raggedy Patty to report on this. Nobody? Where's Raggedy? Where's that red mop on top of her dome? That's what I want to know. So let's continue though.
Especially in agriculture, dramatically increasing access for American beef, ethanol, and virtually all of the products produced by our great farmers. And
so we got us one. Trump was out there fishing, and all of the fake news like he ain't gonna catch nothing. Always talking about he know how to catch fish. And wait a minute, what? And once one bite, that means a whole bunch of them are circling around. That's what that means. That means a whole bunch of them are circling. So he done snagged one. Now imagine when he snags India. And now we got China, which I'll be talking about tomorrow, who also is starting to bend the knee. Yes, that's right. You have finally defeated us, Trump. There it is. So we got China, and imagine when other countries come on board. They're going to fall like dominoes, and boy, we're going to have us a good time. We're going to have a celebration in Kevin's Corner when that happened. Yeah, man. So now let's continue hearing him talk about this, because I'm sure the news is going to be elated about this.
Our Secretary, as you know, of Agriculture is here. Brooke, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, sir.
You'll let the farmers know. In addition, the UK will reduce or eliminate numerous non-tariff barriers that unfairly discriminated against American products. But this is now turning out, I think, really to be a great deal for both countries.
Because you know what? Prior to Trump, with his bravery and his America First mentality, all of our so-called allies were taking advantage of us. Why didn't they do these things on their own just because they love America and respect us? You would think if they was all about, man, we all could come up together. We got to look out for each other. We're partners, right? We're allies. So we don't want to be giving America the banana in the tailpipe. They're our ally. Why would we be sticking it to them on these trade deals if they're our ally? Oh, because nobody was going to check us. All the past Republicans and Democrats were letting us get away with it. So we were just going to continue. Now, let me ask you this. Do you think they would have came to this conclusion all on their own without Trump using these tariffs to make them say, yeah, maybe we are treating y'all a little bit unfairly? You think if Kamala Chameleon would have won, you think all of these countries would have just had an epiphany that maybe we're not doing America right? Maybe we are treating them, kind of unfairly. Let's go ahead and renegotiate these trade deals. Or would they have gone on continuing to stick it to us? See, you think the Biden administration or the Harris administration would have even addressed this issue? They probably would have gave them more favorable trade agreements. Hey, you know what? You want to put more tariffs on us? We'll take them. Don't worry. Our taxpayers will absorb it. They'll take care of it. Don't worry. Matter of fact, while you're sticking it to us with these tariffs, yeah, we're going to be also funneling money through USAID and other programs to your countries for stupid causes. That's what we're also going to be doing. What? You need money for whatever? Don't worry about it. It's on us. It's on us. A round of drinks for every country. It's on, not us. When I say us, like not us, the Democrat. We talking about taxpayers. It's on them. It's on them. But we'll tell you, it's on us. While you guys come to the mic and say, America is a wonderful country. They've been supportive of everything we've done. We do love America. That's right. Continue. Tally-ho, chaps. As we just keep dropping money on all these other countries. So Trump, because he's taking a stance on these tariffs, look at the attitudes that are changing. And as I said before in my reference to why haven't they given us these deals before? It's like the car salesman that keeps on going down in his price. And by the time you leave, you done talked him down for $5,000, and you got to ask yourself, why didn't you give me this price up front? You were willing to come out and tell me it was worth $25,000, but now all of a sudden, somehow magically, you were able to shave off $5,000. You should have gave me that $5,000 off up front, but I got a feeling you was trying to beat me for everything you could. You don't love Kev. You don't love Kev. Same thing with these countries. They don't love us. They don't love us, and when I say us, I mean U.S. They don't love us. They are mooching off of us all of these years. And the Democrats would love to see it continue along with the fake news. So they're sick over this trade deal right here.
It'll be really great for the UK also.
And in the end, it comes down to, as you say, Donald, economic security is national security. On national security, we've been absolutely the closest of allies for so many years, keeping the peace.
Absolutely. Close allies for so many years. Keep it the peace.
Through that close alliance, that friendship. And now we add to that this deal on trade and the economy. And I want to thank you for your leadership on that, Donald. And
Who do you want to thank? Huh? You want to thank Kamala Chameleon? You want to thank Chuck Schumer? What about Hawker Jeffries? You want to thank any? No, none of them? Okay, you want to thank Donald Trump's leadership on that. Okay, which I got a good feeling you would have never came to this revelation all on your own. You were forced. Now all of a sudden you're going, I want to thank Donald Trump's leadership, okay? Because we knew that we had to play some type of ball here. We had to make some choices. And so England falls and the rest will fall shortly after this. Look at Trump sitting back, leaning back like, yep. So let's see how the media feels about this deal.
For the way in which your team have negotiated this. And I'm so pleased that we've got this deal. We've finalised it.
You better go out and buy stock now.
And I'm a little upset because the stock market is off the chain right about now. With the whole China renegotiations and all the inflation. Inflation's also down and all of that stuff. Now, wait a minute. Where's all the doom and gloom? We've been hearing for weeks that everything was going to go ahead and just, crash. What's going on with this? And we're just scratching the surface, guys. We're just scratching the surface. There it is. We haven't even broke the skin yet. We ain't even broke the skin. Yeah, we're scratching the surface with jeans on. We're not even on the skin. We're just on the jeans. That's what we are. See, so yeah, I wish I had some extra chips right about now. Now I wonder why they're not all coming out celebrating the rise in the stock market as if they were celebrating it just like they were celebrating the collapse of it a couple weeks ago. And look at the stock market is down. Don't worry, everybody, you're going to lose your 401k. Sell, Mortimer, sell. They were all excited about it. But then when things buck up, nobody's out there saying, wow, I thought we might have called that one wrong. We were out there celebrating prematurely for the demise of America. We're sorry. We'll do it again in a few days with another lie and narrative as we wish doom and gloom on the country, thus wishing doom and gloom on all of you. Even our dumb viewers who watch the fake news. They're rooting for you to lose too. That's how much they hate Trump. But let's continue, because Trump said go out and start to buy. Yeah, man.
Let me tell you, this country will be like a rocket ship that goes straight up. This is going to be numbers that nobody's ever seen before. That's a very important element of all of this. If we get that. If you don't, and the Democrats are fighting it only because they want to fight. They have Trump derangement syndrome.
Bam! They're fighting it for nothing. You're kicking against the pricks, man. You're swimming upstream, Dems. Yeah, while they're out whining, talking about dictatorship. We've never seen anything like this. We got to get all of these MS-13 people out of prison and bring them back to the country. And you know what? We might as well go and get ourselves arrested by ICE and stuff like that while Trump's winning. I mean, they could go ahead and change their whole image of their party if they just start celebrating these wins. If they start pretending to be patriotic and attending to at least be able to recognize good things that are happening. Right now, they seem irrational. Their Trump derangement syndrome is exposing how irrational they are. They're not able to see good versus evil, good versus bad. How can I trust you as a party? When Trump's making these deals and it's benefiting the country and you're still out there going, he doesn't know what he's doing. These trade agreements are horrible. China's winning. You know what? Look what he's doing. He's getting rid of all these precious immigrants. I'm sorry, I was about to call them illegal for a second. These precious undocumented citizens. Look at all these. And I'm going, everything he's doing is good, but you guys somehow aren't able to recognize it. It's like Trump cured cancer. What does he think he is? I mean, think he's God? I mean, we need cancer. I mean, who's going to die if they don't have cancer? I mean, you know how many people are going to get old and it's going to put a burden on the healthcare system. People got to die of something, but Trump goes out and he cures cancer. Who does this guy think he is, man? Jesus, man. They're that type of people where they hate Trump so bad, whatever he does, you're mad. I mean, this guy cured homelessness and world hunger. I mean, we have nobody to, this is ridiculous. Now, everybody got a house, you know what I'm saying? It's crowded and everything, and now these people are eating. I mean, now look at obesity. Skinny people are now fat, and this is ridiculous. I mean, they would figure out a way to make these wonderful things sound bad, and Trump knows it. So while we're winning, they're whining. Whine on, y'all. Whine on. Cry, babies, cry.
If it was somebody else, they wouldn't fight. If you had a normal person, some stiff sitting behind you, that'd be fine.
You hear that? You had some normal person or some stiff sitting behind us, this desk, you'll be fine. But you know what? We don't. We got the best that ever done it. We got a winner right there, Donald Trump. And they know it, and they hate it. They hate it, man, because he's going to go down as the greatest president of all times. And they're going to be mad about it. Of course, if they get the chance to write history, it's coming. Donald Trump was a dictator, a white supremacist, a white nationalist. He destroyed the whole country. He sprinkled COVID crumbs all in our drinks. And then they'll go in with all of that crap while they try to put creepy up on Mount Rushmore or something like that. But they hate it because he's setting a standard.
But they have Trump derangement syndrome. You know, Senator Schumer's become a Palestinian. Welcome. I don't know when they're going to give him the ceremony, whatever the ceremony may be. It's terrible what's happened to the Democrats.
And I love it because every chance he gets, he lets them have it. The fake news and the Democrats. It's terrible what happened to the Democrats, but really, it's not because they've been like that for years. Yeah. And he said Chuck Schumer has become a Palestinian. For the most part, the whole Democrat Party is teetering on becoming Hamas supporters. Yeah, because they have created such radical folks in their party. They're in disarray, man. Yeah, you can't come out talking about that. I support Israel and what Hamas did was bad. You got to try to thread the needle over there because they got radical, crazy people who they've created over the years and now they're beholden to.
So, very, very important element of everything, of what we're doing, unrelated to today, but related in the sense that we'll do, if that passes, we'll do even more business with the UK. We'll have so much.
So wait, Trump, you're telling me we might be able to sell our big old man trucks over in the UK? They won't all be riding around in Land Rovers and the Mercedes and BMWs. They might even get them a couple Corvettes. You telling me that? Telling you they might be riding around in a Cadillac over in the UK? That's crazy because before we weren't able to sell our stuff over there because of how much the tariffs were and stuff. Y'all, I mean, you know what I'm saying? They wasn't treating us right. They didn't be like, you know what? We've reconsidered this type of agreement. We would love for you to sell your Jeeps over here in the UK. Nope, they're not doing that. They weren't doing that back then. So now they're opening up to it. Interesting.
Source telling CNN tonight that Trump is going to announce a trade deal with the UK tomorrow. Is that something you would consider a major trade deal?
See, look at the framing of the question. Now, what are they going to do when they are the major ones? What are they going to do when we finalize the trade agreement with China or India or Japan or any of them? You start off with, would you consider that a major trade deal? Basically, hint, hint, I want you to minimize it. I want you to downplay it. I want you to go ahead and now throw England or Europe under the bus. Make them look like they're just a small fish in the sea. They're not that big of a player on the field. So she asked him the question already in a negative way.
No. So let's...
Oh, what did you think you said? Absolutely. I mean, just the framing of the question. Let you know that his job was to come out and say, no. See? Don't get excited, Americans who watch fake news CNN, the Chinese news network. Don't get excited about Trump making progress in this trade agreement. Because don't worry about it. It's nothing. It's nothing.
I get some numbers and some context for the people at home. The United Kingdom, wonderful country, lovely people, love myself some fish and chips, don't mind their beer, but they're our 11th largest trading partner.
Wow. So little things mean nothing, right? These aren't just steps towards progress. You can't celebrate the little victories. See, now they're going to lose their mind when we start landing some big fish. See, we caught us a nice maybe 12-pound bass, but what happens when we pull in a marlin? Huh? When we're out there, can barely get it in the boat, and the whole fishing rod is bent like this. Huh? What happens when we pull that sucker up on the boat? It's not that big of a fish. I mean, it's cool and all. I mean, it takes up the whole length of the boat, and I got to sit on the edge of the boat and stuff. I got to ride on the outside of the boat, holding on to the back of it while they're pulling me because I'm a negative person. You'll never bring that fish in, Kev. Well, now the fish takes your seat on the boat after we pull it in. Get your butt out there, hold on to the side while we drag you all the way to shore. So, yeah, this guy, no, it's not a big deal. England sucks. They're only, what is that, the 11th round? They suck. They're small.
They account for 3% of American trade. And if I took off all my shoes and socks and got 4 more people in the room, I'd be able to tell you that leaves 97% of American trade are absolutely up in the air.
Now, you see, who is this guy from Australia who, for whatever reason, seems once again to be excited? Count it, 1, 2, 3, and all of that mess. This guy's not favorable. He's not a Trump supporter. He's not even non-biased. And this guy right here is brought on so he can go ahead and do exactly what he's doing. As she sits there with a smug face, a little smile on her face, like, yes, yes. Continue. to talk about Trump's trade deal means nothing. This will probably be the only one he ever gets done. I can't wait until they all come in, guys. Boy, they're gonna go into all kind of crisis trying to figure out how we're gonna spin all of this.
Now, Laura, I want to tell you one more fact that
One
will
more line.
blow your mind.
Blowing our mind.
Go back 6 weeks ago.
Oh, you hear? No pushback, no questions, nothing. Like, tell me more, fake man. Tell me more.
The average tariff the United Kingdom charged to countries around the world was 1%. That's the stakes here. So the best we can do is knock the United Kingdom down from 1% to zero, and it's already clear we didn't get them to zero. And along the way, the president is imposing a 10% tariff on the United Kingdom, making it harder for Americans to do business with trading partners over in the old dark.
This is relatively low-hanging fruit. If you can't get a trade deal with the longest-standing and loyalist United States ally anywhere in the world over generations, you're going to be in trouble when you're dealing with some of the more obstreperous countries around the world, the ones that are more willing to resist.
Now you see my look? I'm the one with the smug look. Listening to these whiners, listening to them cope. I thought the English is low-hanging fruit. Now they're insulting our longest ally in Europe. They're insulting them, calling them low-hanging fruit. Now, if Trump would have called them low-hanging fruit, he's insulting our number one ally, not the Europe and blah, blah, blah. So now you hear this, guys? They're downplaying it. So now China right now is on the hook. Right now, we got that big hook in that big old fat marlin's mouth right now, and we're reeling it in. I wonder what they're going to say about that. China's kind of a low-hanging fruit, too.
You're in treaties, and let's go live right now to CNN senior White House correspondent Kristen Holmes. Kristen, just how significant is today's announcement?
Well, it depends on what you mean by the word significant.
You hear that? It depends on what you mean by the word significant. There it is. Like Bill Clinton. It depends on what the definition of the word, what was it, if, or something like that? Or, man, he tried to spin something, I think it was if or some word, some small word we said that just depend on what the definition of the word. I think it was if, but if you remember what word he used, let me know. Let's see, it's gonna drive me crazy. Is. Was it is? Yep, is. That's what it is. Boy, I tell you, man. Politicians, boy, I tell you.
Significant in terms of an actual trade deal or just the fact that there is a deal at all. Because what we are hearing right now is that this deal between the two countries is not actually going to be anyone majorly significant. For example, we've heard it's limited in scope, that it is heavy on future commitments. But it is a big deal in the sense that Donald Trump and his administration have been touting for weeks now that they were going to get a trade deal. And in fact, when I talk to administration officials and allies of the president, they seem somewhat desperate to get a trade deal on the table.
Now you hear that? They seem somewhat desperate. Now, why would we be desperate? Are we desperate? Because my thought is, aren't we holding all the chips? I mean, I would think all these other countries are desperate. And you know what's crazy about that? Prior to China coming back to the table, I was watching videos of folks over in China, and they had products stocked up because they couldn't sell it. They were talking about how bad it was and this and that, but yet you listen to our media. China could hold out. China has all the cars. The Chinese aren't hurting. It's America. We're hurting. We need to cave to cheat. We need to cave to cheat. And I'm watching these videos of folks in China, and they're like, man, we are hurting over here. And I'm going, they're not going to be the last too long if they don't make some type of a deal. But these folks were hoping that China would hold out and break us. But no, we had all the chips. So now, when you're the champ, people got to come to you for a fight. People got to come to you for a shot at the title. You're not chasing anybody around. Folks are chasing you around because you're the champ. And let me let you know, the champ is here. Boo! The champ is here. Boo! They know the rules.
Show that the economy was moving forward.
Scott Bessent today under oath said we're currently negotiating with 16 of the 17 most important countries, and he'll be meeting with the Chinese this weekend when they all converge in Switzerland. I think dealing with, with all due respect to all these other countries making deals, they're small and relatively unimportant. We're the big player in the field, and everybody knows it, and people would rather do business with us.
Look at her. You see her with that stank face? We're the big fish. Everybody knows it.
And do business with China because of what Jim just said. They have all these strategies to inflict pain upon you if you don't bend to their will or allow them to break the rules. And so I think when you're dealing with the United States, it's going to take a little bit of time to work out the best deal for us and the best deal for them. But I have a lot of confidence that when push comes to shove and people get right down to it, an alliance, a trading partnership, business dealings with the United States is a heck of a lot better than being reliant on the Chinese because they have seen what they have done to us and everybody else in the world. The decoupling and the isolation of China is a real thing, and, it may be a little painful, but it's necessary.
You hear that? Maybe a little painful, but it's necessary. So, as the people on this panel sit here, and they're like, okay, how do we combat this? Because what Scott just said is on point. And but we would rather see us go ahead and be beholden to China. Now, all these other countries, would you rather have a relationship when it comes down to trade with the U.S., who has the biggest economy, and have a president that isn't trying to take advantage of you, but instead he's trying to make sure that you're treated fairly and we're treated fairly? That's it. China is not on that. China's like, we want all the benefit and we want to put you in a position to have to adjust to whatever we are doing. We don't want any competition. We're not trying to, be fair. We want to dominate. We want to become the world's largest economy. That's what we want. We want to have world domination. Trump just wants fairness. That's why a lot of these so-called dictators didn't act up on his watch, because they know Trump is not trying to take advantage of their country. He just wants you to treat us with respect and fairness when it comes down to everything across the board, whether it be trade, whether it be, war, you acting a fool. Look, we don't want to go to war with nobody. We're not trying to become globalists. We're not trying to get rid of you as the leader of whatever country, but we can't have you acting a fool. But when you know you're working with a president that says, look out for your country, we'll look out for ours. We're not trying to undermine your leadership. We're not trying to go ahead and install a puppet there. We're not trying to do that. We just can't have you invading other countries, can't have you shooting rockets all over the place. And once those dictators realize, he's not like the rest of the American presidents that were being beholden to the deep state and globalists and all of that stuff, then they calm down. They realize we ain't got to worry about, when I eat my food, if somebody's poisoning me from the U.S. Or stuff like that. So these are the results you get when it comes down to working with the U.S. now, currently under Trump, when it comes down to trade or anything else. He's not out there trying to hurt other countries. He's trying to just help America. And if you're willing to do that with fairness, then you cool. Yeah, we can all eat. We can all be blessed. And once these countries realize that, they're going, well, heck, he's not trying to take advantage of us. Why not jump on board with this versus China, who would definitely take advantage of you? Now, I love the Chinese people, but I'm going to tell you right now, Chinese people, you think they're trying to go ahead and give you 1 or 2 extra pennies? They are tight when it comes to the purse. I wouldn't got a massage, messed around and forgot to sign a tip. You think that lady let me walk out without getting a tip? Nope. Said, you no tip. You tip. Did you tip? I mean, who asked for a tip? You're an establishment. You provided the service. I mean, but this lady's like, did you tip? You no tip. Look, you no tip. You tip. I'm going, geez, oh man, I'm getting strong-armed into tipping. And she wasn't trying to let me slide out. She's like, you better tip on the way out the door, so brother. So anyway, if you think they're trying to cut us a deal that's going to favor us, no. So everybody knows they're better off working with us.
Significant country.
Stop with the jingleism. Let me stop with the jingleism.
Dealing with us is the most important thing.
Stop. Do you think that China can do just as well with the EU? Do you think that China can do just as well with India?
If I were the EU, I would not want to be reliant. And look what's happened to us. They don't want it.
It's not. I want to make sure that America's last. I want to see us lose. Because, I want to see Trump lose. Therefore, we lose.
It's not a question of reliance. It's a question of the fact that everybody is cutting deals with each other. We're not cutting deals with anybody.
We have one thing in the news.
No. If everybody's cutting it, what would they suggest? What would they suggest? We just let our country continue to be abused when it comes down to China and trade across the board. It won't self-correct. These countries are not going to correct themselves when it comes down to taking advantage of this lady with the red dome and the green on.
Having discussions with each other.
We're in the middle of talking to 16 countries, according to the Treasury Secretary.
According to the Treasury Secretary, we've been hearing from them for over a month that we're on the.
And we've been hearing it for them over a month. Did you think they're lying? You think they're lying? See, this is the premature celebration. This is the premature talking crap. And when the dominoes all start to fall, then what are you going to say? See, so now today is England. Now China's in the works. India's in the works. They say they're close to finalizing that deal. But these people, they've been saying that for months. They've been saying that for months. Okay? It's like your parents saying, you know what? Later on, I'm going to give you a whooping because I remember when you was in that store and you disrespected this lady and this and that. And a couple of days go by. That dad was saying that for days. He said he's going to whip me until it's time to pay up. You think I forgot? Drop your drawers. It's time to pay the price. See, but you got a little relaxed. Dad's been saying he's going to spank me for days now. Don't worry, he's not going to do it. He's not going to do it. Don't get overconfident and comfortable. So now this lady out here is celebrating until it's time to drop your drawers and get spanked. So when all of these deals start to collapse and fall, I wonder what she's going to say then. I mean, they've been saying that for months, just like Raggedy Patty was out there with the same hairdo as this lady right here, too, talking about that. They've been saying they're getting a deal for weeks now.
Cusp any day now, any day. No, I'm saying that I've been hearing. I'm saying that every deal that we heard about is coming any day now, any day now.
How quickly would you?
And we hope that they don't come at all.
Be able to cut a trade deal?
Let me answer that question. I wouldn't get into this mess in the first place.
I think that's a very.
I wouldn't get us in that position in the first place. How quick could you get a trade deal done, lady in the red hair? I wouldn't have us in this position in the first place. Basically, you're going to allow us to continue to just get the banana in the tailpipe. That's what you're going to do. You're going to allow America to continue to be abused. Now, I thought the biggest and the baddest is the one that don't have to worry about getting abused. I mean, how you going to be the biggest dude on the playground and everybody's throwing eggs at you? Tomatoes, kicking you in the kneecaps and running, calling you stupid and all of that. And you're going, dude, you're the biggest kid in the playground. I can't believe you don't realize how big you are. You're just going to let them all abuse you like this little kid in daycare. Oh, man. This little dude named Daryl was getting bullied by a kid in a 4-year-old room named Billy when I worked in daycare. Daryl was big, and he didn't realize, how big he was. In other words, he's walking around big for nothing. And he had this really soft voice, Mr. Kevin. And now, his dad was huge. He used to bring him into the daycare, bodybuilder. So you could tell, even though Daryl was big and he was kind of fat, one day he's going to grow up and he probably could turn that all into muscle. But this kid named Billy in the 4-year-old room just was picking on Daryl. And he took Daryl's toy, and Daryl comes up to me, Mr. Kevin, Billy had taken my toy. I said, Daryl, look, man, stop letting Billy just pick on you and bully you. Look at him. You're bigger than him. I said, man, next time he come up to you and he picks on you and he try to take your toy, you sock him in the eyeball. Man, I didn't think Daryl was going to do it. I didn't think he was going to do it. I told him, I'm like, Daryl, you little dude, he's kind of soft, but I was like, you're bigger than him. Next time he takes your toy or something, you sock him in the eyeball, and walked away. The next day, we on the playground, man, and I happened to be watching it all unfold from afar, but it happened so quick I couldn't stop it. I couldn't get to it. So Billy takes his toy, and Billy is over there pointing at him and everything, laughing and everything, like, and happened to look away at his friends to enjoy the reaction of the audience as he's pointing to Daryl. And I'm watching Daryl, and that bottom lip start to quiver, y'all. All of a sudden, like a freight train, Daryl cocked that bad boy back and said, pow, right in the eyeball, right when Billy turned. Billy had his face like this, and a big old smile turned right into a right. Immediately, split that eye over and under. Yeah, man. And knocked his butt out. He was like, and I ran over there like, oh, shoot. Come here, Daryl. Good job, man. Good job. You think Billy ever messed with Earl again? He had the utmost respect for Daryl. Man, I might have created a monster because Daryl started walking around the playground. But boy, Billy learned a lesson early. You can't be out there going ahead and abusing the biggest kid on the playground. And the biggest kid on the playground shouldn't be allowing you to do it. Same thing if we're America, this lady wants us to be Daryl. She wants all the little folks just to be taking stuff from us and picking on us and punching on us and laughing at us and stuff like that, according to her. But at some point, you got to sock somebody in the eyeball to let them know, okay, I ain't big for nothing. I ain't big for nothing. Now let's continue. Daryl's somewhere right now like, yeah, I got self-esteem now and confidence because of the Mr. Kevin. Had to remind me how big I was. Let's continue.
You wouldn't try to improve our trade.
No. I would not get into this.
Good to know.
No, Scott, let me tell you something. Kentucky, my friend, you guys import more than any other state in the nation. You want to represent that state in the Senate? You go tell the people of Kentucky why they have to sit there and listen to this nonsense. Their bourbon's about to be tariffed to hell. You guys are about to have no trade with Canada. You're about to lose millions upon tens of millions of dollars just in
You're about the. That's all you've been hearing. You're about the. You know what? Tell the people in the. People understand what Trump is doing. Anybody with common sense knows what Trump is doing, and they know this is a necessary thing. It's like my man Bang said, I'm necessary evil. That's right. Certain things you have to do to change the course of history. And this woman wants us to concede. She wants to go ahead and talk about all the what ifs and what abouts and the fear and tell everybody it's doom and gloom and stuff like that. Instead of y'all just hang on. A change is coming. See, that's how I look at it.
Ontario province alone with all the stuff that you're not importing there. So why don't you go tell the people of Kentucky?
We have a lot more ahead on the Canada piece of
politics than you
this.
do. I can tell you, they trust the president.
Oh, okay.
They voted for the president, and they're going to let him make the best deals for them.
I can't wait. They voted for the president, and they trust the president. Here, you know what? I can't wait. I can't. You tell them. She's hoping for doom and gloom. But let's see how the people trust the president, because here's crying Van Jones, y'all, with that lisp. Okay, now he's talking to some black people right about now, and he wants to know, or do they regret voting for Donald Trump and stuff like that, even though Trump that got in and became what? The first dictator, and he's killing us with the trade and all of this stuff, all of these negative things about Trump. Let's see if Van Jones could convince these black people to feel bad about voting for Trump.
Always a Republican. No, actually, I come from a family that was like super Democratic. My first time voting, I voted Democrat. I voted for Joe Biden.
What about Trump appealed to you?
Am I allowed to cuss?
Yeah, you can.
I mean, part of it is he's. I like.
Part of it is because he's an a-hole. There you go. Now I happen to think he's great, but he's only an a-hole to people who act a fool. Yeah, he's an a-hole to toilet paper, of course. Yeah, if you're toilet paper, of course he's an a-hole to you. So I love it. I need somebody to be an a-hole when necessary, because China is only going to respect that. All these other countries are going to respect that. You think they respect the creepy, sleepy? That guy walking around, barely walk up steps, down steps, barely walk on flat land, can't ride a bike, can't talk, wanders off all over the place, getting out there just saying, don't, while everybody did. No, they're not going to respect that. They know, hey, Trump could either be a friend or an enemy. It's all up to me. And the crazy part is he can flip you from an enemy to a friend real quick soon as you adjust your attitude. Look at how the relationship between him and Kim Jong-un just changed immediately soon as Kim Jong-un stopped firing those rockets. I mean, he was letting him have it up until that point, calling him Rocket Man, joking, laughing, having a good time. Soon as Kim changed that attitude, we have a great relationship. I'm going over to meet with them. He wants the best for his people. He knows how to feed your ego, but first you got to adjust your attitude. That's the thing. So for people who want to act a fool and take advantage of us, we need a monster. We need a monster. But once you realize, hey, man, you know what? This monster don't have to be a monster. He could be a pussycat. It's all up to me.
Authenticity.
You voted for Obama then you voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016, but 2020 you voted for Donald Trump. What made the change?
I began listening to someone. Her name is Candace Owens.
Candace? Okay. And she started letting you know how fake the news was? She started opening your mind up to what these folks are really about and their agenda? and all the lies about Trump?
And I read her book, and it just opened my eyes to maybe he's not this person that I have been led to believe that he
You mean to tell me he's not a dictator on day one, and he's not hoping for a bloodbath, and he didn't try to kill all the Japanese fish, and he didn't go out there and say the World War I soldiers were suckers and losers, and he didn't actually call all the Mexicans drug dealers, the R word, and killers. And he didn't do all of that stuff. He didn't come out and say, I'm not condemning white nationalism, white supremacy. He didn't do all of that. You mean to tell me he didn't say, I want you all to go over to the Capitol, overthrow everything, and launch an insurrection? You're telling me he didn't do those things? You're telling me he's not the racist, white supremacist, and stuff like that they've been telling us? Yeah, you're telling me he didn't do none of that stuff? He actually condemned the KKK and white supremacy? You're telling me you realize they've been lying to you about all of this stuff? Man, people can be deprogrammed if they was to sit in a room and just let somebody go through all of the lies one by one and show you all of the evidence. People should be mad. If I had some type of funding where I can, we're running a test to see if I can deprogram a lot of these crazy folks that suffer from Trump derangement syndrome, have them come in and say, what do you feel about Trump? And what do you think are the things that make you hate him? And when did you decide to start hating? Did you start off hating Trump at first? No, actually, I used to watch The Apprentice, and I didn't know he was a white supremacist. Yeah, isn't that interesting? You didn't know then? But now all of a sudden, it's just all over the place. The white supremacist, white nationalist and stuff. And why do you think you changed your mind about how you feel about him? Because you loved him at once? Yeah, I didn't know until he came out and called all those Mexicans rapists, drug dealers, and murderers. Did he? I'm glad you brought that up. Run the clip and see what he really said. See if you could deprogram these people one by one. They will go from that one to the next one. Well, what about when he didn't condemn the poor guys with the tiki torches and folks down there in Charlottesville? Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. Click. Here's the real video right here. Here's the whole thing in context. Oh. Well, what about? How many of those can you get away with? How many times do you have to go, well, what about? And then you come out and you show them they're lying to you to where you finally get it and say, man, maybe I've been manipulated like this lady.
he was.
So you voted against Trump in 2016.
Yes.
But then in 2020 you voted for him?
Absolutely.
Why?
I saw how things were going during his first term, and I was pleasantly surprised, and I was pleased with what was happening. I saw the economy getting better. I saw country relations in certain countries getting better.
If you had to do
You see that? I love when they bring on the smart blacks. Yeah, make me feel good about being a brother. The brothers, the jungle. Makes me feel good about that. Versus other folks like Raggedy Ratchet comes on there cussing Donald Trump this, Hakeem Jeffries, all of the bootleg race bait and black folks that they bring on these networks. Now we got some smart, intelligent ones that were able to see the benefits of a Trump administration the first time. See, but yet you'll ask people now, how was Trump's first administration? I feel with racism and stuff. So you can't recognize all the good things because they were brainwashing you to only focus on false realities during that. Not her. She didn't fall for the okie doke. What else?
all over again, would you vote for Donald Trump again, yes or no?
Yes, I would. Now, in the future, I am not a diehard Democrat or a diehard Republican. If there were a Democratic candidate who was more aligned for me, then I would vote Democrat.
Now, see, we still need to work on her. But she did say she'd vote for Trump again, just not for a third term, which she's not running for a third term. But she did get far enough to say she would vote for him again. Now, that's progress. But she needs to come to the realization that the Democrats suck through and through. Now, don't get me wrong. Our rhinos suck too. See, that's the difference between the old Republican Party and the new one. We're now outing a lot of rhinos. We're seeing them and saying, we don't want your kind here. You want to talk about isolation and stuff? We don't like your kind up in our party anymore. Get out. Go and get. We want nothing but MAGA Republicans in office. So, therefore, I'm saying, let's move forward with the party. MAGA first. However, we definitely do not want to ever consider a Democrat. Because if you got some integrity, you're not going to be a Democrat. If you find one Democrat that is able to manipulate folks and lie to them about I'm a moderate and I'm a different Democrat, you still got to worry about the rest of the whole party. And if that person is truly a moderate and an America First Democrat, they wouldn't be a Democrat. That's why I can never do it. The whole party's tainted.
If you go back in time, would you vote for Donald Trump? Yes or no?
Yes.
Oh!
I think I might know the answer on this thing.
He said yes. No, I'm sorry.
If you had to do it all over again, would you vote for Donald Trump? Yes or no?
1,000% absolutely yes.
Yes! Yes! Candy bar. Candy bar. I love it. At 1,000 gazillion times. Yes. You understand that, Van? Put that in your pipe and smoke it, man. So now, I'm sure he was hoping. Now, I wonder, how do these people get on this? Why do they always pick for... I want to get picked for one of these little clips and stuff because I'll give them an earful. I give them one for the ages. Well, let me go ahead and break it down to you, Van Cryan Jones.
The main argument, Elena, that the Trump administration is making here is that that allowing transgender troops to serve hurts.
Hold on. Let me see something here. Let me reverse this. Let me go ahead and let me go ahead and do this here. I'm gonna go ahead and y'all gonna have to. If there's any reading, y'all gonna have to go ahead and read this backwards like I've been having. Okay, here we go. I want y'all to see who the dummies are. So here we go.
Lethality and it hurts readiness. What do you say that?
Here we go, y'all. Here we go. All right. So now we got another issue as we close. See, they whine about the tariffs and stuff, and now they're whining about Trump's decision when it comes down to the readiness of our military and having transformers up in the military. See, and so now they want to go ahead and hop topics. So it's one thing or it's another. It's how Trump is treating the precious undocumented citizens. He's just locking them up for no reason. And people of color, everybody's in danger. Or how Trump is treating and abusing our men and women in the military. So wait, you mean to tell me that by saying, look, folks that are going through transition or are transgenders in the military aren't ready, they're affecting our readiness, is different than saying, you know what? Folks that don't get the shot in the military, including Navy SEALs, got to go. Folks that might support Trump a little too much, got to sit through DEI training and all of that stuff. And if they're not deprogrammed, they might get kicked out, demoted. Do you mean like that? See, I got a feeling treating folks like that in the military is way worse and damaging than saying, okay, folks that are in the military, that their life has been altered through saying, I want to be a this or that, and I need medicine. I need to have my physiology change. I need constant medicine to keep this going. Yeah, I need to time off while I go through this transition. Could affect readiness. But me not getting a shot, I don't think the problem was then. But fat guys had to go during that time. So let's go ahead and see now what they're whining about, because once again, they're whining while we're winning.
Allowing transgender troops to serve hurts lethality and it hurts readiness. What do you say to that?
Well, there's no evidence of that.
Well, there's no evidence of that. Well, first of all, this person is transgender, but during his time in the military, he was just gay. See, he was just gay. He wasn't transgender now. So he's speaking after he's out of the military. But there's no evidence. Now, they always say that. There's no evidence. First of all, we don't know what positions all of the folks that were in the military as transgender held. And we haven't been in a major war to actually see how that might impact their readiness. So it appears that since this thing became a thing, for the most part, folks have just been in the military doing their basic stuff and saying, all right, just in case something happens, then we'll, react or whatever. But we've never had a chance to see a whole bunch of transgenders rush in on the front line. I would like to see how that works. I would love to see our transgender branch of the government, of the military. Let's put together a whole branch. All right, this is our special transgender unit. That's right. These are all girls who think they're men, and they're a tight unit. And what we're going to do is we're going to send them in like a special force and see if they can go ahead and, yeah, I wonder if they're able to go ahead and be able to do that effectively. I wonder if their true nature and biology would be overcame just the fact that they think that they're a guy and they take, all these testosterone things. You think they'd be able to operate like the Navy SEALs? You think they'd be able to have the strength to carry somebody on their back for about 200 yards full speed? You think they'd be able to do that? Think all of the injections will help them do that? No, it wouldn't. But nonetheless, this guy right here is talking about that. There's no way to actually measure that. And then, of course, here come the stupid arguments.
I think that, if that was the case, we've seen transgender people serving honorably for the last several years. And what has changed between now and then? They've just woken up to a new administration who has a different outlook on their ability to serve. So I think that, if you talk to people who are serving on active duty alongside transgender troops, they're not making these complaints.
You don't know that. And see, here's the crazy part about it. What this man doesn't realize is that having transgenders in the military is an unnecessary distraction. It's an unnecessary distraction. One of the major problems with people who go through this transition is oftentimes their whole existence revolve around that. Their identity is wrapped up in that. They're always looking for a way to introduce their transition and this ideology of transgenderism into society. And if they're not treated a particular way, they're looking to be a victim. They're always looking for some type of that discrimination, so I can go on to the news and say they treated me differently and this and this and that. You don't even want those potential problems and issues when it comes down to the military. You don't want to have to feel like, man, if I get in this guy who thinks he's a girl's face and start yelling at this person like I do everybody else, they might think he singled me out because I'm transgender. You might, all of these things. It's like having an extreme liberal work for your company. They're always coming in looking for injustice and problems. I'm going, I can't hire this person. They'll be the first to sue the company. They'll be the first to get on TikTok talking about, today, my boss came in and he didn't acknowledge my pronouns. And you're going, these are unnecessary headaches. These are things that we wouldn't have to deal with if, we didn't introduce this and say, all right, we're going to treat you and go out of our way to accommodate you making your own personal choice. And this is the biggest problem with these folks that are arguing that Trump is discriminating against these people. And they're saying these things. And I'm saying these people made a choice. This isn't discrimination based on an inherited, attribute like just your race or your sex. This is, I came into the military as a guy, and now I want to choose to become, or at least live like a woman. And I need y'all to go ahead and facilitate this transition that I chose. That's the problem. When we enlisted you, you were Jim. Now you want to be Jane. We want Jim. That's the person who signed on a dotted line. But you got woke politicians and folks who run our military that were saying, well, I guess we have to assist them. So now all of the money that we need to spend to help you go through that transition and keep that transition, because these are things that you have to get on for life, could affect it. What if you came in big, strong, and you had a job where you were lifting big tires up and big chains and hooking stuff up? Now you go through a transition and you decrease a lot of that strength and you can't do the job anymore. So these are things that you have to consider when you're running the military. But not according to them. It's, of course, discrimination. And watch what they do. They're going to burn me up with this.
The leaders in the military are not making these complaints. These are political complaints about military service. So I think that all the courts that have looked at this issue and looked at it, and said there's nothing, in fact, to back up what the government is claiming here. In fact, the judges challenged them to produce evidence, and they couldn't produce any evidence. So I think it's a really dark day for our country, where basically we're allowed to discriminate against a class of people.
It's kind of thing.
There it is. And see, when you let liberals on the loose, y'all, when you let them on the loose, this is what they do. When they come up with the next craziest ideology or idea, they figure out how can we insert this into discrimination to protect our stupid ideas, to force society legally into honoring our stupid choices and our stupid ideas that were exactly that, our choices, not just natural things that you can't change and you now being discriminated against. All right, here I am. I just happen to be born a midget, and they don't want to hire midgets on the job unless the job requires you to be a certain height. Yeah, you can't be discriminated against. And that goes both ways. And maybe you're too tall for the job. We're building little teeny dog houses, and we need people that can go inside the dog house and stand up and look at it, and you're just too tall. You're too tall. I'm sorry. Unless you're doing something like that. But here this person is trying to insert discrimination as an issue. Just like they use that for kids and stuff like that. Anything they want to get pushed, they try to use, let's throw that into the discrimination category. And of course, you know who they always bring up? Black folks. And what if they just start doing this to black people? I cannot stand when they try to use that equivalent. I thought, what's next? Black people? Same thing. We're deporting all of these people. They're discriminating against these people because they're people of color. What's next? Black people? What if they do it to blacks?
Can't produce evidence that this actually does, in fact, have an impact on readiness. I mean, how is this not then just discrimination?
Well, it's the opinion of the commander-in-chief, who, according to our Constitution, is the head of the military. I mean, regardless of anyone's opinion or anybody's, whatever side you're on, whether you're for it or against it, at some juncture, the president's the commander-in-chief of the military, and he has and should have broad latitude to determine how the armed forces should be operated.
Now, you hear that? Now, Scott's trying to be reasonable without saying the quiet part out loud. I want you to think about this, people. A whole football team, NFL football team. Yeah, these guys go ahead, you sign them, okay? And this guy right here is 230, all muscle. He's a running back. He runs a 4.3. We got a lineman who's 6'5", 6'7". He's 330 pounds of all muscle. And imagine, though, if all of these heavy hitters decide to go through transition. There you go. The whole football team out there, we're all transgender. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get estrogen shots and stuff like that. And then we're going to go through some operations, and we're going to start taking things to lower our testosterone. And we're going to need time off. We're going to need time off as we transition, especially the ones that go through the operations and stuff like that. So we're going to do that. And then we're going to, of course, since we are more focused on looking more feminine, we're not going to be in a weight room hitting it. We're not going to be up there taking all kind of pills that increase our testosterone. No, we want to be more soft and feminine. So now I'm a big bag of softness on the offensive line. I was 330 pounds of muscle. Now I'm about 230 pounds of estrogen running around on the field. All of that estrogen being pumped into the whole team. You think that could affect the readiness? You think the manager of the football team be like, man, I brought these dudes in. These cats were tough. They were hardcore. They were doing everything they could to compete with other masculine men with testosterone. Now they're doing the opposite. They're taking all of this stuff to soften them up and saying, you can't discriminate against us. I'm the same running back that I was. I'm the same offensive lineman that I was. You're not going to be that same offensive lineman when you start injecting testosterone to look feminine or to be feminine. You're not going to be that running back. Now, granted, you're also not going to be a woman because, see, then they'll try to use that argument too. But you said that, men, when they take testosterone, they don't lose that much strength. You might not lose enough strength to where you could compete with women. You're always going to have the advantage over them, but it will also lessen your readiness to get out on that football field and compete with guys who aren't pumping themselves with all this stuff. Compete with guys who aren't going through transition and need 2 weeks off, boss, because I got an operation coming up. Yeah, you're not dealing with that stuff. No football team who prides itself on finding the toughest, strongest athletes are going to allow all of those guys to transition to become more feminine and try to pretend that that's no difference. I don't want to discriminate. They would cut the whole team. They would say, y'all got to go. Bring in other guys that aren't going through this transition. So You're telling me the whole team will go out there to the news, this is discrimination. They're cutting us because we're all trans. We're the same guys. Unbelievable. And she's trying to pretend that this is no difference. I don't see what the problem is, or Scott.
And so I think that's what he's doing here. I think that's ultimately what the court said today, was the president is the commander in chief, and we gotta respect that.
What's but I mean, to her point,
what's the point?
If there's not a downside, and it's been going on for years now, and I mean, I'm just presenting your argument to them.
Yeah.
What is the argument other than Trump, Hegseth just doesn't want trans people in the military?
I think I made a good argument just a minute ago. I think I just gave a great example. And when it comes down to the military, there's all kind of things. Why should the taxpayers be burdened with that cosmetic transition for somebody who makes this choice in the military? You know, these aren't operations that are necessities. You're not going in and saying, you know what, I need a kidney operation. Okay, well, we'll take care of that. All right, next. Yeah, I want to become a woman. What? Yeah, I want to become a woman. Well, how much does that cost? Well, the initial cost. See, that's what you're going to get. The initial cost, but then there's the recurring cost. Yeah, because, I got to keep this stuff going. Unless my voice starts going from treble back to bass. See, we don't want that. So now, those are problems, okay? And depending on your role in the military, you might have to even change your role. Might have to change your role. And imagine, though, if you're a female in the military and you're doing a job suitable for females, and then you decide to become a male, and you start dressing like a man, you get the haircut, you allow the testosterone to grow you a little goatee or something like that, and you start saying, hey, Captain, I think I want to go over there and I want to do what all these Navy SEALs are doing. Just because you take a little bit of testosterone and you think you're a man, yeah, deep down in everybody's mind, they would know you're going to never make it over there in this position, because I don't care how much testosterone you pumped in you, you're not going to be able to get over there and become a Navy SEAL. You're not going to be able to do that. But yet, if we tell you you can't, or yeah, underneath all of that, you're still a girl, you're going to go whining to people like this. That they rejected me, it's discrimination, I wanted to become a Navy SEAL. You know what they should do? All those people who think that, get over there. Let them go ahead and tap out real quick. Ring the bell. You can ring my bell. Ring my bell. Because that's exactly what would be happening. That reality would hit them real quick. You might think you're a man, but you get over there and they're talking about carry this guy for 200 yards and see what happens.
I think that the president, we'll ultimately see. I think that's why the court is allowing the president to move forward with this until it works itself through the court system. Maybe the Supreme Court will be the final arbiter here to say, yeah or nay, you can do this. But ultimately, I think the court is showcasing deference to the executive, saying that, look, you're the president, you're over the military. You do, for the most part, get to sort of dictate the standards of our military.
Yep. But now you know what they're going to do, y'all. Yeah, they're going to jump on the back of blacks. That's right. We can't win stupid arguments like this, so let's jump on the back of blacks like we always do and ride the back of blacks to push this crazy stuff. What if they just start doing this to black people? And I cannot stand when Democrats and these fake folks always try to use blacks.
I don't really see how you can push back against that. Again, we'll see what happens.
Here it comes.
I can.
Yeah, I can.
Well, I'm sorry, I can. What if the president wakes up tomorrow and says, I don't want any black people in the military?
The leprechaun's back, y'all. She's always after me, Lucky Charms. So now here she comes. I can. I'm going to use black people's plight. This is such a obvious strategy. And it burns me up. This is exactly why they keep discrimination. Real discrimination and, all of the stuff that black people went through, the Jim Crow laws for the Democrats and all this stuff. They like to keep that in the frontal lobe of society because that narrative allows them to insert other narratives that most people would not embrace. And because they know most people will not embrace that, they keep in the chamber. Well, what's next? Black folks? What if they start doing that to black folks? They always do that. Stuff that has nothing to do with us. Stuff that a lot of black folks will go, that has nothing to do with us. So all of a sudden now, you're telling me if they discriminate against transgenders, that's the same. What if they just start doing that to black folks? They don't realize black is not a choice. We didn't wake up, all right, you know what? Today I decide I need a transition into being black. ACAP, and I'm gonna need a couple weeks off. They're gonna be pumping some melanin into my skin. And I gotta go through a sun tanning process. Then they gotta go ahead and take me to how to walk black classes and how to talk black and stuff like that. How to get five. Then flip it over on the black side. Up high, down low, too slow. I gotta go through my black training and learn how to fry my chicken and stuff like that. Marinate my collard greens and stuff. Put some pork sop in there. Frying all my food. What? A popsicle. Drop it in some grease. Fry that popsicle up. That's how we roll as black folks. You gotta go through your black transitioning. There it is. Yeah. So you think that's what at the dance classes? Yeah, I thought you're off rhythm still. You're off rhythm. Slow it down. There you go. There you go. Hold it. There you go. I gotta go through all of that. Yeah, just to be black. So I'm gonna need a couple months off, Captain. We didn't choose that. These folks made that choice. So now all of a sudden, here she go. I know how. What if they wake up next and then they say that to you? What about black folks?
Yeah, can make a deference to him on that. No, wait a second. It's not ridiculous. It's not.
It is ridiculous.
You're discriminating against a group of people in a very similar way. No,
I knew you were going to say
See, there it is. In a very similar way. Now that should be offensive to all black people because they're trying to use the discrimination in the past of black folks so they can push transitioning and transgender ideology. There it is. And what about if they do it to black people? They ain't got nothing to do with us. Same thing. All these illegal immigrants they're deporting. What if they just wake up and say, you know what, we're going to start deporting black people? They know that if they could go ahead and tie any of their crazy policies to the discrimination of black people, then they can scare a lot of white liberals into going ahead and saying, well, I better support it because, yeah, what if they start doing that to black folks? And then black liberals into thinking, well, I got to jump on board and support this because, yeah, what if it was done to us? Not realizing they should be offended that they want to put transgenders in the same category as black folks in discrimination.
Excuse me, I'm glad you said that.
I'm curious, why is it ridiculous?
Why is it ridiculous? You see the person right there, the gatekeeper? I am curious. Why is it that different? Because then what if they do it to black people?
Said the president should be the one who just decides.
Right.
So if he decides, wakes up tomorrow and says, I think it's bad for morale, it's bad for cohesiveness, for there to be black people in the military, Latino people in the military, just in her hypothetical scenario.
In her hypothetical scenario, you see, Scott, you knew some type of racism was going to come up to try to defend transgenders in the military. And in reality, once again, if you ask the average black person, do you think transgenders are in the same category of discrimination that black people were when they were being discriminated against? What's the differences? What's the differences? And why shouldn't black people be concerned about transgenders being kicked out of the military? I mean, you know, what's next? They're going to kick out black folks. What's the difference? What's the difference? I mean, there's no difference according to the fake news in these people right here. They try to create this similarity between the two. And I'm thinking there's a big difference. As I went through my whole black skit of transitioning into blackness, yeah, that's the difference. Yeah, I was born this way. I was born with the bass in the voice. I was born with the bounce in the walk. Okay? I was born with being able to snap to the beating, to the rhythm of the night, dancing to the morning light. Born with that, man. So these people weren't born that way. They chose to do this. That's the difference, Abby. But nope, according to them, what's the difference and stuff like that. And of course now sliding in the possibility of the black people. Now we insert the ideal of racism too. There it is.
What's the difference between that and what we're seeing here?
I mean, are you really going to go down this ridiculous?
I'm
sorry.
This is a ridiculous argument.
Well, okay.
The president,
what they've already said
about the secretary.
Well, consider what they already said about you. Hear them in the background. They always want to insert that because they want people thinking Trump is capable of just one day waking up and saying, "Now I'm going to turn my attention to blacks. finally gonna go ahead and open up my full whole can of racism on society. I've been holding it down, suppressing it. All those years hanging out with Mike Tyson, Jesse Jackson, all those years of Al Sharpton, and all the rest of the black folks that hung out with me, I've been suppressing it, holding it down up until now. This is my big opportunity to transition from transgenders to the black folks. That's what I really wanted. That's what I've been really wanting to get at. The blacks. See, they want people to think that could happen under Trump. It's not even a thought or possibility in my head. Not in my head. But they want to create that thought and that possibility in people's minds so that they will say, well, yeah, these people might need equality. We don't want them discriminated against.
The Secretary of Defense have an argument here. They believe that readiness and unit cohesion and overall operations of the military are impacted by this. That is their opinion, and that is the opinion of the Commander-in-Chief, who the Constitution gives broad latitude to run the armed forces. So that's their opinion. You're allowed to have one. You're allowed to have one. You're also allowed to run for president and become Commander-in-Chief yourself. But until you do, tell him, Scott.
He's the Commander-in-Chief. I have to just say, I didn't hear an answer to the hypothetical, right? I
didn't hear an answer to that because I want to go ahead and still try to pretend that Trump might do this to black people too one day. Well, here's an answer for you, Abby. Okay? Yeah, being black doesn't affect your physiology. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, being black doesn't make you, weaker or stronger. Yeah, you're still a man or a woman who you're born with either certain physical strength or whatever or not. I mean, we come in all shapes and sizes as black folks. There you go. Sorry to let you know that, Abby. But you are what you are. See, yeah, you're not sitting back becoming something that you aren't that could impact you physically, emotionally, mentally. Here you are. Was a tough guy in the military. You go through transitioning, and all of a sudden now you're more emotional and sensitive. Yeah, you're sitting there like, I don't know why I'm crying so much, guys. What the heck? I know we're Navy SEALs and we had to take out this Al-Qaeda member. But man, I just felt something on that. All of that. Any of those things could happen. There's a plethora of things that can happen because you decide, once again, the big key word, decide. And see, this is what they want to conflate. The fact that these people are making a choice versus this is the way they are. That's the one, where they're trying to muddy the water. See, they're trying to make it appear that these folks had no choice in this. This is what they are, and Trump and them are discriminating against them based on how they were born. You're born black, you're born transgender, right? No? Have you ever heard a doctor, when a baby come out, say out there, your baby's transgender? What? Yeah, your baby's transgender. You didn't know that? That's the third category of sex. There you go. Well, wait a minute. What is that apple stem right there? It means nothing. The apple stem means absolutely nothing. This baby right here is transgender. There it is. Born that way. So you can't discriminate against it. No. These folks become transgender, which isn't really a thing in the first place. But they make that choice. Abby, let's continue.
Okay, the definition of discrimination, according to the American Psychological Association, discrimination is the unfair or prejudicial treatment of people or groups based on characteristics such as race.
Characteristics such as race?
Gender, age.
First of all, gender is based off of your sex, okay? Your sex. So when they talk about gender, gender is a result of your sex. It's not, well, you know what? Well, my sex is male, but my gender's female. No. You wouldn't even have a such thing as genders if there were not sexes. But here we go. Gender, what else? Age?
Intersexual.
Okay. Yeah, there's going to be a little discrimination in the military right now. I can't go and sign up. All right, I'm here to sign up to be a Navy SEAL. Well, Kev, you're in good shape for your age, but come on, buddy. There's a tap out age. Hey, you can't discriminate against me. Give me a shot at it. So age, what else? Or sexual orientation. Now understand, this is talking about whether you're gay or straight, not your sexuality, meaning I'm a man or a woman. I'm now a woman. I was a man, now I'm a woman. So I don't see anything in there that's talking about you being born one way and choosing to alter that and become something else.
Orientation. What is the difference between, prohibiting certain groups like transgender people from serving versus, people based on their race or even their gender. Right?
What I said? Because see, you want to talk about gender. No, I'm talking about sex. What is your sex? Forget gender. Because see, y'all try to play around with that mess. Gender means you could just pick it as a social construct and all of this stuff.
I personally think there's a difference, and I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yeah, you don't want to get into it with these stupid people. As the white liberal lady brings it up. Well, I can. What happens next if they just wake up and just say one day that, that black people aren't allowed? So now, this right here, we're going to use black people to push our transgender agenda.
Well, I will say...
Do you believe that race and... Are you saying that the quality of race and the quality of transgender are the same?
I'm just asking the question.
You see that? See how Abby just tries to play the innocent role? I'm just asking the question that, no, you're trying to insert doubt. You're trying to insert a narrative, that might make people who would start off saying, yeah, man, transgenders in the military could affect readiness. What? So that's the same as how black people could be discriminated against? Oh, well, if that's the case, now we got to support transgenders in the military.
Because I think you're making there's a distinction, but you're not explaining why.
No, I'm asking, you guys brought up the hypothetical. Are you arguing that someone's race is the same as someone choosing to become transgender?
Your argument, you've made the argument twice that the commander-in-chief's opinion is all that matters. You've said that twice now.
Well, so the Constitution, yes.
So if he wakes up tomorrow and says it's not okay to be gay or lesbian and serve, because that's his opinion.
Now, see, once again, gay or lesbian, here's the thing. The don't ask, don't tell, that's all they needed, okay? I mean, what else do you want? There was a time where you couldn't be gay or lesbian and admitted in the military. At this point, don't ask, no tell. What else you want? See, this is the problem with these progressive, ideas in society and behaviors and stuff like that. They go too far. When somebody enlists in the military, they don't have to come out, I just want everybody to know I'm heterosexual. If anybody wants to know, heterosexual. Okay, thanks for telling us that. Just get out there and put your helmet on and start shooting at stuff, okay? That's all I want to know. We don't need to know about your personal life. Okay, so now this person is talking about sexual orientation, which you do behind closed doors with it. But guess what? That doesn't change, whether you're a man or a woman. See, I mean, there's a lot of gay folks. A gay girl I know, she walks and talks like a guy and everything, but she knows she's a girl. All right. There's gay guys out there. They still, don't lose their testosterone or whatever when it comes out. If these are gay folks in the military, as long as they can do their job physically, don't be running around wearing it on your sleeve. Don't be having, your hair tied up in one of them things like the dudes off of In Living Color hated it. Just over dramatic. That might be a little awkward in the military. You got your shirt tied up in a knot. Talk about everybody, come on, let's go over to the mess hall. Yeah, that might be a problem. But as long as you coming in there and you acting like you got some sense, you're doing your job, nobody cares. But now here she is trying to talk about, well, what about if you were gay or a lesbian?
There's nothing to back that up. They meet the physical standards. They meet the intellectual standards. They have voluntarily decided to serve their country, to give their life for this country. So many of us don't have to. That it's the opinion without any basis in fact that's what matters more than the Constitution of equal rights and equal protection.
However, man, being gay doesn't change your sexuality, your sex. You're not cutting off your jewels if you're just gay. You're not taking testosterone and estrogen and stuff like that if you're just gay. We don't have to invest taxpayers' dollars for your monthly or daily treatments to continue to be feminine or more masculine if you're just gay. You're not losing strength to be able to do your job if you're just gay. There you go. But according to this guy, that's the same thing as if you were just gay. No, if you're gay and decides, well, me being gay, I want to become a woman, that's different than just being gay.
Go ahead. No,
I was going to say the other thing, or there's a few things that bother me about this, and mostly it was the language of the policy, right? When you're reading at some of these words, transgender people as inherently untruthful, undisciplined, dishonorable. That's like a very weighty thing to say about people who are courageously deciding to protect this country. The other problem, Scott, is that it's never enough. It's bathrooms today. It's sports today. It's sports tomorrow.
It's bathrooms today. It shouldn't even be bathrooms. What are you talking about, toots? That's right. I'm being sexist right now. This broad right here on there, this lady right here, they toots. What are you doing? Talking about this, bathrooms today. Why is that even an issue? Why are we even talking about bathrooms? You're saying, you're bringing it up like it's a problem. You should be embarrassed to say it's bathrooms today. This is unbelievable. It's bathrooms today. What else is it? What else is it? Sports. You hear her? She's talking about this is how crazy things have gotten to where it's bathrooms today. Folks are actually mad that men and women shouldn't be in the same bathroom. It's bathrooms today. Folks are actually making a big deal over boys being in girls' sports. I mean, she should be embarrassed to be saying that. But now all of a sudden, here it is, guys. Because she's saying, look at all of us bigots. Because we don't want men in girls' bathrooms and we don't want boys in girls' sports.
It's the military today.
No, it's also sports today, by the way.
Yeah, it is sports today. And
80% of Americans agree, by the way.
Thank you, Scott, for bringing this attention to toots right here. That's
fine. And 80%, guess what? The majority sometimes is wrong. That also happens, right?
Here we go.
Because the majority used to believe that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was somebody who was a threat, that somebody who was not a good American. The majority of people used to be against civil rights. Were they right? No, they weren't. And so the whole point is...
Was the majority against civil rights? I know a lot of the Democrats were. The Democrats were. But somehow it got passed, though, right? Because of the movement. Because more people start saying, look, this is wrong. And the Democrats realized they couldn't stop the momentum. So what they did is they said, well, let's go ahead. If we can't beat them, let's join them by going ahead and signing this Civil Rights Act. So we can have these black folks voting for us for the next 200 years. And here they are out here helping that to continue right now. The majority of people felt that.
When you target one group, and inevitably that line moves to everybody else. And I'm not saying he's coming for black people tomorrow.
Yes, you are.
But considering that this is a military or this is a leadership that is already using DEI as code word for black people.
There it is. Already using DEI, code word for black people. Can't defend arguments without inserting some type of racism. There it is. DEI, code word for black people. Did not earn it. So now, DEI is the code word for black people, which it's not. Unfortunately, they try to insert black people into so many things based on DEI, but that's across the board. You could be gay, you could be a woman. There's a lot of folks that fit the category of a DEI hire. You could be dumb. Like they were trying to get for the airports. That we want you to be an air traffic controller. But we're looking for people with mental disabilities to do that. I don't know about that. I mean, call it discrimination if you want, but depending on what kind of mental disability you got. Now, unless you're, some savant and you're able to predict the probability of airplanes crashing and avoid them and stuff like that. But if you're special, and they're talking about we're hiring people who can't read good and folks who are horrible with math skills, that we're looking for that. Those are the type of, I don't want to be on that airplane. But here she is talking about DEI, code word for black. It's always black. They never insert all the other stupid stuff that falls into that category because folks don't care about that as much as racial discrimination. So they're not saying it's a code word for gay. It's a code word for transgenders. It's a code word for, it's always, let's just go ahead and say code word for black. Because that backs everybody. Whoa, okay, easy, Tiger. I don't want no trouble. I don't want no trouble. I don't want to be called a racist. So they use black folks all the time to push these other agendas.
Already when it comes to the military, suddenly when you don't protect the most vulnerable, you wind up making it worse for everybody else that's in the margin.
What do you mean by protect the most vulnerable? So what are you talking about? So wait a minute. You got all of these military guys, all right, a tight unit, and you throw one transgender man or woman in there. You got a transgender man, which is really a woman, and a unit, a battle unit of guys. She might be slower as far as running. Y'all all say, all right, we got to run 100 yards across the field. Okay, we're going to be taking enemy fire. Everybody go. Now, we all sprinting. We look back. She's carrying an M60 with all of the rounds strapped across her, got a backpack, and struggling to keep up with the guys. Yeah, the testosterone shots doesn't help her with that. And then all of a sudden, those guys feel obligated to stop, slow down, or go back and try to help her or carry something that she's carrying or whatever, you don't think that impacts the vulnerable? That makes them all vulnerable. That is why I'm not a fan of women being on the front line in the military and fighting. It compromises men. It makes men not operate like they normally would because we got a built-in reaction to protect women and children. So now it might be a whole group of 10 dudes out there. One guy gets shot. It sucks. But hold on. We got to hold the line. I'll be right back. But if a woman gets shot, I'm thinking, oh, shoot, man, let me grab her and drag her. There's a lot of things that does to a man mentally. So it affects the readiness of a unit, and it creates vulnerabilities for the group, the whole group, not the person that she's talking about. For the vulnerable, the person that shouldn't be in that unit because they're not really a man, that person isn't the person that's vulnerable. You make the whole unit vulnerable because they're still conscious and aware that even though this person might have grown a little couple mustache and some whiskers and stuff, we know that that's really a girl. We know that's a girl. See, so these are things that this lady right here is trying to talk about. They're the vulnerable. No, it makes the whole unit vulnerable.
What? You don't think trans people are vulnerable in this country?
So is it your position?
See, they're vulnerable to what? What are you talking about? Nobody's hunting transgenders. Nobody's going back saying you can't make your choice to become what you want. Just don't be using the military to facilitate that on taxpayers' dollars. And if it affects you being able to go out and do your job and you got to take time off for your choices, then yes, it's a problem. But here say you don't think transgender people are vulnerable just because we don't want them in girls' bathrooms, just because we don't want them in girls' sports and stuff like that. They're not vulnerable. I don't give a darn. Every once in a while, I see a transgender person walking around. Saw one in Walmart the other day. You think I stopped and said, ooh. Come on. Here it is. Here's the transgender. Come on, guys. The transgender in Walmart goes, wah, 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 wah. Didn't even say anything. Just looked, kept it moving. And this wasn't even a transgender that made an effort to look like a woman. It was just a full-blown dude walking around, purple hair, tried to grow it out and had a dress on. And I'm going, oh boy. Anyway, kept it moving. That was it.
And the commander-in-chief should recruit people who you're describing as vulnerable into the lethal
he
fighting force?
he should recruit people who want to serve and protect this country.
Oh, that's it? My name is Jacob, and I'm 72, and I want to serve and protect my country. And I don't discriminate because of my age. And I'm a vulnerable person in society. And you're just an old guy that won't be able to help us. You're too old. I thank you, though. Appreciate your desire. Okay. Yeah, okay, you come up and you're like, okay, I'm a dwarf. The things that we do in the military, you can't do it. There's some things you just got to say, I can't do it. There's a lot of stuff I wish that I was able to do physically or whatever. I just can't do it. Okay. Would have loved to be a gymnast. Can't do it. Especially not right now. I was able to do all that crazy stuff back then, flips and stuff. But right now, me going out, I'm trying out for the Olympic gymnastic team. Sorry, you can't do it, man. Your time has passed. So there's some things, some realities in society that you just have to say, hey. So if she has this mentality of you should go ahead and accept anybody who got the desire and the attitude and want to be, you can't operate like that as a military. You have to have some standards to go beyond just your good intentions, your tenacity. Support us in other ways. Okay, there you go. Like the parade that Trump wants to do for the military that the Democrats hate.
And it's really kind of ironic considering he dodged the draft that he suddenly has an opinion about it.
The good news is, and Elena, you pointed this out, this is going through the court system. The other side has the opportunity to present evidence.
Except for tomorrow, there should be thousands of people who wake up and get processed out. The harm will be done.
And I certainly...
Just like all of those that had to wake up and get processed out because they didn't want to get the shot under Joe Biden. Was that person right there out there whining? Was CNN out there saying this right here affects readiness? Why is the Biden administration getting rid of these people who just want to serve and protect their country, who's willing to put their lives on the line for their country, and now that Joe Biden and them don't want them in the military without the shot, he's kicking them out. I didn't hear one of these folks have a panel supporting that. And that's why Pete Hegseth then went ahead and reinstated all of them with back pay and all of that stuff. That's what I'm talking about versus dealing with these issues like this that are not natural, they're forced, and they're unnecessary, and they're unnecessary distractions in our military.
We understand that, but again, there's still an opportunity for it to continue through the proper process.
Yeah, so shut your mouths, all right? Go ahead and let the process work itself out, since y'all was talking about it's about the process. It's about the process. So we shall see. The plot thickens and continues, okay? But as long as Trump is over the military, we have to eliminate any of those crazy woke ideas that are distractions and aren't helping our readiness when it comes down to our fighting forces. Yeah, man. Find something else to do that fits your lifestyle or choice that you made. And when I say choices, like I said, choices that you made. Not I was born this way. But you listen to the media, everything's conflated. Yeah, Trump's sending basic Americans out of the country. American citizens, folks who live in this country. And I'm going, they don't live in the country. Y'all conflating the issue. That's what y'all do. Y'all operate in the gray area. You don't want folks to know there's a distinction. There's a difference. These people made a choice to come to the country illegally. These people make choices to go through transition and be a guy or a girl. And these are all choices people make. And then when you deal with them based on their choices, all of a sudden no longer is it their choice. It's just these things are built in. They're Americans. They're already here. Yeah, so therefore, what's next? Black people? Black people? Anyway, I'm so sick of them using black folks to push their agenda. And I'm going to make a video about that too. Now, God bless y'all. God bless America. Don't forget, text MAGA to this number on the way out. If you get a chance, I appreciate that all day long. If you can support the channel through my Cash App or PayPal, that also helps. And Gizmo came in the room as soon as he heard that. But yeah, and if you, man, he distracted me now. Was like, oh, check out Kevin's Corner store too if you can. All right. And finally, subscribe to my alternative channel. Other than that, I'll be back tomorrow, y'all, by the grace of God. So we can continue. And I need to catch up on all these wonderful things that are happening. Because we're winning, y'all. So God bless you all the next day in Kevin's Corner. Take care. That's right, Gizmo. We are winning. All we do is win, win, win. It's all city. Yeah. Take care.